Brinks-Mat robbery. The Brinks-Mat robbery occurred at the Heathrow International Trading Estate, London, United Kingdom, on 26 November 1983 and was one of the largest heists in British history. £26 million, equivalent to £93 30 pence million in 2021 worth of gold bullion, diamonds, and cash was stolen from a warehouse operated by Brinks-Mat, a former joint venture between U.S. security company Brinks and London-based company M.A.T. Transport. The bullion was the property of Johnson Matthey Bankers Limited, which collapsed the following year after making large loans to fraudsters and insolvent firms. 2 men were convicted, and the majority of the gold has never been recovered. Insurers Lloyd's of London paid out for the losses, and several shooting deaths have been linked to the case bullion robbery in London. Robbery. The Brinks-Mat robbery occurred at 6:40 a.m. on 26 November 1983 when 6 robbers broke into the Brinks-Mat warehouse, Unit 7 of the Heathrow International Trading Estate near Heathrow Airport in West London, England. It was described as the crime of the century. The gang gained entry to the warehouse from security guard Anthony Black, who was in on the robbery. Once inside, they poured petrol over the staff and threatened them with a lit match if they did not reveal the combination numbers of the vault. The robbers thought that they were going to steal £3 20 pence million in cash, but they found 3 long tons, 3,000 kilograms, 98,000 troy ounces of gold bullion and stole £26 million, equivalent to £93 30 pence million in 2021 worth of gold, diamonds, and cash. Arrests. 2 days after the robbery, a couple saw a white-hot crucible operating in a garden hut at a neighbor's property near Bath, Somerset. Suspecting it to be linked to the bullion robbery, they immediately informed the police. The police arrived and were shown the hut, but they said it was just beyond their jurisdiction and stated that they would pass the information on to the police responsible for that area. The couple were never asked to give a statement to police or give evidence in court. No explanation has been given for the police's failure to follow up immediately on the tip-off. 14 months later, the premises were raided and the furnace was found. The occupier, John Palmer, a local jeweler and bullion dealer, was arrested. In court, Palmer said he was unaware the gold was linked to the robbery and he was cleared of all charge shown of the robbers. Brian Robinson was caught after security guard Insider Black, his brother-in-law, passed his name to investigating officers. He was arrested in December. Earth police quickly discovered the family connection and Black confessed to aiding and abetting the raiders, providing them with a key to the main door and giving them details of security measures. Mickey McAvoy had entrusted part of his share to associates Brian Parry and George Francis. Parry recruited Kenneth Noy, who was an expert in his field, to dispose of the gold. Noy melted down the bullion and recast it for sale, mixing in copper coins to disguise the source. However, the sudden movement of large amounts of money through a Bristol bank came to the notice of the Bank of England, which informed the police Noy was placed under police surveillance. In January 1985, he killed a police officer, D.C. John Fordham, whom he had discovered in his garden. At the resulting trial, the jury found him not guilty. Collapse of Johnson Matthey Bankers Limited. On 30 September 1984, less than a year after the Brinks-Mat robbery, the banking and gold trading arm of Johnson Matthey Bankers Limited collapsed and was taken over by the Bank of England to protect the integrity of the London gold markets. Losses amounted to over £1 million. The bank had made very large loans to fraudsters and insolvent businesses over several years and had serious and unexplained gaps in its records. The fraud squad was called in to investigate the bank and certain customers. Curse. The so-called Curse of Brinks-Mat or Curse of the Brinks-Mat Millions refers to the shooting deaths of several men who were allegedly involved. These deaths were thought by members of the London criminal underworld to be related to laundering of the gold. In 1990, the former treasurer of the Great Train robbery, Charlie Wilson, had moved to Marbella, Spain, where he was suspected of being involved in drug smuggling. Engaged to launder some of the proceeds from the Brinks-Mat robbery, He lost the investors £3 million. On 23 April 1990, Wilson was shot dead. Donald Urquhart was one of the launderers of the proceeds of the robbery. He was shot dead in January 1993 on Marylebone High Street in central London. The Supergrass Kenneth Regan assisted police with information about Urquhart's murder. Graham West was subsequently jailed for Urquhart's killing, as was his accomplice Geoffrey Heath, who planned the murder. In December 1998, Hatton Garden jeweler Solly Nahome was shot dead outside his home. Nahome was a financier and associate of the Adams family, who were also suspected of being involved in the laundering of the Brinks-Mat gold. Prior to his murder, Nahome's associate and jeweler Gilbert Winter had disappeared from the home that he shared with his girlfriend on 9 March 1998. It was thought that Nahome and Winter were murdered over the disappearance of £800,000 from a cannabis deal, while it was suspected their rival gang murdered Nahome and Winter to cause disruption. In mid-2001, Brian Parry was shot dead. On 14 May 2003, George Francis was shot dead by John Flynn outside Francis Courier Business in Bermondsey. Francis was a former associate of the Krays and was believed to be involved in the laundering of the gold. Francis had survived an attempt on his life when he was shot in the shoulder near a pub that he ran in Essex in May 1985 after allegedly failing to pay £100,000 to have a jury acquit Lenny Teddy Bear Watkins, who was on trial for the murder of Peter Bennett, a customs investigator who was shot by Watkins in a struggle. In 24 June 2015, John Goldfinger Palmer was shot dead. In popular culture, Banks Portal. In 1992, a made-for-television film called Fool's Gold based on the robbery was released, with McAvoy portrayed by Sean Bean. In 1994, Roger Cook exposed John Palmer for his part in the robbery during an edition of the Cook Report entitled The Laundryman. On 4 November 2003, Channel 4 broadcast Brinks-Mat, The Greatest Heist, a documentary of the raid. In 2007, Will Pearson published the book Death Warrant, Kenneth Noy, The Brinks-Mat Robbery and the Gold, that provides a captivating account of the heist, chase, and convictions, as well as personal tragedies and ironies of the events. In 2010, a documentary was broadcast on the crime investigation UK network Clarkson, Wensley. 29 March 2012. The Curse of Brinks-Mat, 25 Years of Murder and Mayhem, the inside story of the 20th century's most lucrative armed robbery. Corpus Publishing, ISBN 978-184,000. 916-650. 4 February 2017, Channel 5 aired a documentary updating events, including the death of John Palmer. In the new documentary, first-hand accounts from the security guards were given who were on shift the morning of the robbery, as well as from officers on the case. In 1 April 2017, BBC Radio 4 aired a drama, The Hatton Garden Heist, which included the events of the Brinks-Mat robbery. In 2022, Channel 4 aired The Curse, written by the producers and writers of the TV series People Just Do Nothing, fictionalizing aspects of the Brinks-Mat robbery. In 2023, Channel 5 aired a documentary, including first-hand accounts from the security guards who were on shift the morning of the robbery, as well as from officers on the case. In 12 February 2023, BBC One began airing a 6-episode drama called The Gold, inspired by the robbery, starring Charlotte Spencer, Dominic Cooper, Hugh Bonneville, and Jack Lowden.